It broke, so here I am a few minutes late because I was messing around with the equipment and couldn't get it exactly right. So we're going back to what I originally do and just use a tripod. But anyways, enough of me complaining about equipment. What? Damn it. I think we are back. My gosh, things are going crazy tonight. I'm messing with things. Broke equipment. I think my Wi-Fi just went out on me, so I had to get off the Wi-Fi. I think a minute and 30 in, we're finally live. I think, let me know if you can hear me. I'm trying a new microphone tonight, but geez, I need to learn just to stick with the basics. What is going on my phone? Things are going gosh, dang it. All right, let's just go for it. We're just gonna do this. So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight. It is Friday night. It's been a hell of a week. So if you saw my video I put up this morning, thank you. I see Aquanoob can hear me. I have Keith Brody can hear me. Gosh dang, my phone is driving me insane right now. Hang on, let me see if I can fix this. All right, hopefully that fixed it. I apologize. This is a disaster starting this live stream. Hopefully that fixed it. We're gonna get moving forward. I'm excited to do this live stream. I have a lot of things I want to talk about. We are, Brian Paul, unacceptable. I can imagine how you're saying that. I'm chuckling to myself. Yes, you are exactly right. This isn't acceptable. I should, as a professional man, I should have everything ready to go before I get started and not have any problems at all. My gosh, this is killing me. I don't have any problems at all. My gosh, this is killing me. So where are we at now? Over 2.5 minutes in, I think we're finally working. Struggles are real, people. Struggles are real. First thing first with this live stream though, we are at 1,000 subscribers. 1,000 subscribers. I cannot believe we reached that milestone, that goal. It was awesome. It happened Tuesday night. I was sitting on the couch at home and I actually was, I kept checking back into the Aquanoob. You are correct. We're 1,003. Cool. I was at 1,002 before we started, so it means somebody likes me enough to take pity on me and subscribe to me. But yeah, Tuesday night, I saw the final tick over to 1,000. Was able to get a screenshot of it, so it's official. YouTube even sent me an email, and you're like, oh, a screenshot of it, so it's official. YouTube even sent me an email, and you're like, oh, you're a 1,000 subscriber creator. That's bananas. So it's been awesome. It's been so cool to reach 1,000 subscribers. And the thing is, like, you guys did that. Everyone that subscribed to this channel, you guys accomplished that. You brought this in. You got me to 1,000 subscribers. I cannot thank everybody enough. When I started this YouTube channel, initially my first goal was 100 subscribers. I wanted 100 subscribers, and from there, I would continue forward. If I gave myself within that first year, if I didn't reach 100 subscribers, I was gonna reevaluate things. This month, I think in like the 23rd of this month, I'll have to check officially, marks 1 year of me doing YouTube, trying this out, seeing what I can put out there. And you guys got me past that. You got me past my 100 subscriber mark. Now we're past the 1,000 mark, and we're just gonna keep moving forward. I've had some help along the way, and I'm very grateful for it. The first one that was Houston Manzanita. I did an unboxing video of his and kind of made a fool of myself, and he was kind enough to share that out onto some Facebook groups, and I remember that day. That video I think has like 270 views now, but I was shopping in Walmart with my wife, and my phone kept blowing up, like new subscriber, and I went and looked at the views, and I was so excited because that was my first video to get over 100 views in 24 hours. That started that like real excitement of, I have 100 people watching me make a fool of myself unboxing some hardscape for tanks. So Houston Manzanita really helped me out on that one. Then Aquarium Co-op. Corey found my video of the Zis video, and yeah, that went crazy. I think we're closing in on 7,000 views on my initial review of the Zis biofilter. And to see a creator like Corey with the following he has, with the subscribers he has, and just who he is, take my video and share that to people was humbling. It was awesome. I was so excited. And to watch, the subscribers come in again and to keep going with that one. Beerski Method, welcome. I really, if you guys haven't seen Beerski Method's channel, he's doing some pretty cool stuff with some backgrounds and things. always enjoy watching him. So, you know, Corey helped me out there, and the subscribers started coming in. It was just, that was probably one of the coolest things to wake up to. He initially shared my video on his community tab. And what's kind of cool is that YouTube sends you a notification of like, congratulations, another creator shared your content. And it was awesome. Barry Aquatics, thank you. I'm glad my tank is okay. That was a hectic, hectic night. So I think I started talking about that briefly in the beginning of this live stream. That video I put out this morning, that all happened last night. We're about not even 24 hours after all that went down. So this tank behind me ran dry, went insane. The sump ran dry. It's not the main tank did, but the sump went dry. We'll talk about that probably a little later here. But yeah, but speaking of Barry Aquatics, he's another one. You know, we've been chatting personally, and he's helped me a lot here to get over to that 1,000 subscriber mark. It's been I'm very, very grateful for his time he's given me. All right, what else do we got? So celebrations will continue to commence. We're at 1,000 subscribers. This is awesome. I'm excited, ready to keep moving forward. With that, I am currently in the process of doing the most extensive testing that I can possibly think to do with the equipment I have available to me, with the resources I have available to me. Another test on the ZIS biofilter. Now this isn't just a test of I've been running into my tanks for so long. I want to get into the nitty-gritty. I will say this much, I've actually been in personal contact with ZIS Aqua. I have talked with ZIS Aqua personally in regards to the testing I am working on with that ZIS biofilter. There's actually a tank behind the camera set up for that project, and so I'm very excited. Good evening. Glenn Norton keeps calling me the fish. You know what? I like that one, Glenn. He called me the fish nooker. It's a new nickname. I'm gonna take that one. I'm gonna run with it. So welcome everybody. They're now on the Fish Nookers YouTube channel, formerly known as Wel-Don Aquatics. But so yeah, so I am working on some very extensive testing on this. I'm really excited for it. I'm excited to test this ZIS biofilter in the way I want to. And this test came from your comments. Everybody who left a comment on all my videos, I read them, I take them to heart, you give me creative ideas. And this came from some comments on what people would like to see. They had a question of how it would work. So we're gonna try it. I'm not gonna share all the details yet because that's gonna be one of my favorite videos, I think, to work on. I'm gonna get started officially tonight, and it's probably gonna take me 2 to 3 weeks to complete the testing on the way I want to, possibly a full 4 weeks, and it's gonna take me about probably another week to get it edited and out. So we're still about a month out on that video, but just know that there's gonna be, I'm gonna say this, there's gonna probably be over 200 hours of testing put into this, but that's kind of an inflated number because it's gonna be like half of that's gonna be waiting and, you know, kind of watching what's happening, but it's gonna be a really cool test. I'm really excited for that one. So yeah, what else do we got going on? Oh, the other thing I wanted to kind of bring up to the community, as to say, I was talking to another YouTube creator, and we were talking a lot about merchandise. If anyone is interested in Wel-Don Aquatics, like t-shirts, anything of that nature, leave a comment on this video at the end of it or even during it. I don't know how that works. So let me know though. Let me know if you are interested in anything of like a Wel-Don Aquatics t-shirts and that nature. I've always been nervous to push those things because I personally don't buy a lot of t-shirts of that nature because I never wear them. So that if anyone's interested, let me know. I've been looking at Teespring lately to see if we can get something set up there, but enough on that. Let's kind of move into the live stream. I know we got a few comments already that came in, and I purposely kind of pushed them aside. I apologize, everybody. So what's we got going on here? Oh, people were making fun of me at first because I couldn't get my live stream to work. That's okay. What else do we have going on? 103, Alan Jenko says, what's up, Sergeant? I know, it's very cool to see we have what's up, Sergeant. Let's take a look here. So Colby, this makes me thankful for still doing the basics after 6 years, 2 tanks, and I'm okay. Yes, my disaster last night could have been much worse. Thankfully, my wife caught it. We got it worked out. When I say like, so I don't know if it's, yeah, I could have definitely avoided that. Gosh dang it. definitely avoided that if I maybe went the old school method more, you know, on that nature. What else we got going on in here? James asked me, what breeding projects do I have lined up? So James, I'm not a lot. I don't know of any. Haven't done much with specifically breeding fish. It's interested me, but nothing that I've set up to where I'm gonna specifically breed a certain fish. About a month ago, I wanted to breed wild bettas. I was really wanting to breed wild bettas. I decided not to. Currently, I have a pair of angelfish that I haven't really shown yet on the channel. If they do any kind of breeding, I may try and raise some eggs out. I've never done it before, so that'd be something new to try. But for overall breeding, nothing much right now. It's really not anything. I'm just not what I'm looking for to do. But in the future, I would like to breed some fish. Colby says he'll race me to 100 million. Race is on, my friend. I think it's going to take me a few years, but the race is on. That'd be a crazy number to get to. Let's see. Bierski, thank you. Glad to hear you avoided a major disaster. Send love to Miss Wel-Don. I will send her all the love I possibly can. Yeah, she saved me last night. She saved this tank. She saved she saved Kiwi last night. It could have been a terrible thing. Very terrible thing, but we avoided it. We got it done. So unfortunately, everything is good here. All is well. So like I say, if you're just joining into the live stream, again, thank you everybody for that 1,000 subscriber mark we reached. Absolutely blown away. Absolutely blown away. It's been so cool that when I log into my channel to see 1,000 subscribers. It's just the coolest goal that I initially wanted to get to. Aljenko, you're gonna do a shrimp tank. I actually already have a shrimp tank going. It's the first 33 long I have down here. I have a few videos done on it. I currently have a colony of cherry shrimp growing out, and I have a pair, one male, one female, of the dwarf praecox rainbow in there. I have not seen any predation on the shrimp. No breeding from the rainbows yet. I don't know if they've laid eggs in the plant. I haven't seen it yet, but I haven't pushed to breed those fish. So to go back to, I think James asked me about a breeding project. That's actually one fish I may try and breed this summer. I want to try the outdoor pond scene for a little bit. I may try and breed those praecox rainbows out there. We'll see what happens there. I gotta really do some research on what I can keep out here. Let's see, James says, I like the Zis, but I intend to replace the plastic beads with BioMotion from Pond Guru. So I know what you're talking about briefly, and that's actually one of the things I'm gonna be testing. I wanna test the efficiency of the ZM1 fluidized media that Zis provides with the filter. And I can confirm that they are in the process of testing and manufacturing a smaller version of it that will fit into like 10-gallon tanks of that nature. So we're gonna fill that as well. Let's see here, Bierski method, contemplating a discus community take. What's your take on discus? So Bierski, when I initially first got my 75-gallon tank, how do I put this? My first 75-gallon tank I had in this house. So I wanted to do discus. I was really interested in discus. I was the full thing I was going to do, but then as I looked at them, my take on discus is they are extremely overpriced for the enjoyment I get out of them. Now I'm probably blowing up the internet by saying that and maybe get myself in trouble. I think discus are extremely overpriced. One of the most picky fish in the hobby, and probably one of the most overrated fish in the hobby. Now, saying all of that, I think discus are absolutely stunning fish. They look incredible. They get some of the most amazing patterns on them. I've watched videos of champion discus, the blues, the reds, the pigeon bloods. I kind of got turned off by them. I was actually involved, I've had some negative experiences with Facebook groups. I was involved in a discus group really there just to try and study and learn everything I could. And I got turned off by how snobby these fish were made out to be. You know, I kept reading things of, you know, my discus won't eat this, my discus won't touch this, my discus this, my discus this. And I finally boiled it down to like, I didn't want to be so concerned about keeping these fish alive that I would forget to enjoy the fish. Now, I know if you watch Aquarium Co-op and his tour of Dean's Fishery he just did, his wild discus, absolutely incredible. Like that made me want to keep discus again just because they look stunning, but I'm not ready to do it. So for you though, I think go for it. If that's what your interest is, absolutely go for it. Try it. Let me know how it works out for you. Who knows? You may be the person that changes my mind on discus officially, and maybe I'll keep some discus. But right now, not in the works. Maybe down the road, just to say I tried it. That's why I'm wondering, like, I started a saltwater tank, because I wanted to try it and experience it. I'm loving it. Let's pull the chat back up here, see what else we got going on. Looks like Bay Area Aquatic says he knew the answer. So I'm guessing it was to Bierski Method asking about discus. We've chatted a little bit. Let's see, Dan, getting my first tank in about a month. Have been toying with the idea for a year ever since my last lizard died. Looking forward to it, getting a 15-gallon. So Dan, that's actually a great comment to lead into what I initially want to talk about in this live stream tonight, and that's tank size for beginners. I think 15 gallons is gonna be great for you. I think I started with the 20-gallon. One of the best tanks I've ever had. I loved it so much. I had so much fun with it. And that's the main thing I want to discuss tonight is what tank size for a beginner. If you watch a lot of videos, you know that and still continuing, most people will tell a new hobbyist, get the biggest tank that you can. Whether that's the biggest tank you can afford, whether that's the biggest tank you can fit in your house, whether that's the biggest tank the biggest tank you want, the biggest tank you think you can handle. I'm in the opinion now I disagree with that. And I disagree with the wording of that, and I want to change that to get the tank that you're most comfortable with, that you think you're going to be able to take care of properly. So instead of saying the biggest tank you can get the biggest tank you're comfortable with. Because to people, a 4-foot tank, like a 55-gallon tank, that is a large fish tank. Most of the time on my classified ads, when people are selling a 55-gallon tank, the description is large fish tank, big fish tank. And then you read more into it, and it's, this thing is huge. I had, 37 fish in here. But that's still a big tank to people. People talk to me and they go, man, what's your biggest tank? I'm like, oh, it's a 220-gallon. That's insane. I'm like, yeah, it kind of is. What's the big tank to you? Oh, I used to have a 10-gallon tank, and man, it was crazy to take care of. So it's this misconception we've started of get the biggest tank you can get. And the reason why, I know the reason why that we have pushed that agenda, pushed that idea, is dilution. So think about this way. If you take food coloring, I thought about doing a prop on this, but I'm so nervous that I would spill and get a mess all over the carpet. My wife would kill me. But think of it this way. If you take some food coloring in a milliliter of water, and you put 3 drops of food coloring in, it's immediately going to turn that water red. Let's say you're using red food coloring. It's going to immediately turn that water that color. Now, if I took food coloring into 220 gallons of water and put in 3 drops, you would not see a change in the water. That's dilution. So a bigger tank, we know that fish produce waste. New hobbyists, what's the number one thing they want to do? Feed their fish. We feed the fish because that's what we enjoy doing. Like, why would you keep a fish that you're not going to be able to feed and interact with in some kind of way? So food produces waste. It's going to build up that ammonia. And a lot of times new hobbyists don't always understand, I need to do a weekly water change. I need to gravel vac. I need to have proper filtration to keep my fish alive and well. So that's why we push, get the biggest tank you can, because in the long run, you're going to have more success based off the waste in the water will dilute out, and you're not going to need to do as much maintenance. Now, here's my problem with that, though. You give a new hobbyist a 100-gallon tank, a 55-gallon tank, and tell them to change 50% of the water once a week. So say they do that. Now they question, how do I do that? So they start siphoning to a bucket, dump the bucket out. You do that 5 times. Then you go refill that bucket up, carry it to your fish tank. You do that 5 times. And now all of a sudden it turns into a chore where they absolutely hate it. And the next thing you know, they're selling that fish tank, or they just give up on it. And the tank's, half evaporated. It's brown and green. The fish are somehow surviving. Their kid just dumped in a full can of fish food, and they're just like, I don't care anymore. It's not my interest. Where if we can teach hobbyists, explain to them, help them understand of What are you comfortable working with? Oh, here, let's start you with a 10-gallon tank. Once a week, you're gonna siphon out 1 bucket full of water, a 5-gallon bucket. You're gonna go dump that, refill that bucket up, add a little bit of dechlorinator, pour that bucket back in, and your maintenance is done. And then you can teach them too of, you don't need as much filtration. You don't need as much lighting. It's interesting when you start adding up the numbers with a new hobbyist, and you're like, oh my gosh, like that's expensive. Yeah, it is. This hobby can be expensive, but if you get them in a stage where they're comfortable, Petco does their dollar per gallon stuff. So you talk them into, a 20-gallon tank, $20. Fantastic, we're done. Then you find maybe a used lid. You figure a way to use some egg crate, maybe a DIY lid. You teach them about the lighting they're gonna need. And based on lights, I will ask a new hobbyist, what's your intention? Are you wanting to visually just see your fish? Or are you eventually going to want live plants in that tank? And when they tell me, well, I think live plants eventually, then I kind of steer them towards this certain light, and I may steer them towards, this setup. And it's all these things of what are they comfortable with keeping instead of, rushing into, here's a 100-gallon tank, good luck, my friend, because then you got to teach them about stocking. So I see some comments coming up about stocking. That's one of the other things about this, like new beginners, is helping them understand that I was terrible at this. I had so many fish in my first tank. Let's see, Barry Aquatics, buy the biggest tank you're comfortable with now, because otherwise you'll buy it a month later. You're absolutely correct. I think it was about 2 months after my wife initially bought me my 20-gallon starter kit for Christmas that I bought a 75-gallon tank. And to me, that's what I was comfortable with keeping. But I did my water changes with the bucket, siphoning to a bucket, refilling tank it back up with the bucket. It took me quite a while. And that's when I started, really researching of how can I speed up my water changes. And I don't think my wife, I think she's probably listening to this, so I'm gonna get myself in a little bit of trouble. I don't think she knows that in our previous house in Roy, Utah, I actually flooded the back room my fish tanks were in. I was siphoning my water with the siphon, and I put the end of the hose into a PVC pipe and ran that PVC pipe out the back door. That's how close I was to the back door. But not even thinking about it. I'm like, oh, that hose is gonna stay in there. Like, there's no way that it's gonna, back pressure out. I got that down far enough in the PVC pipe. So I walked away. Walked away for I saw like 10 minutes. I came back, sure enough, they had separated. I had water going everywhere, all over the carpet. And it was only like a 900 square foot house. So there's no hiding this. There's no basement I can, run to and, just working on something. So I was like running back and forth in the bathroom, grabbing towels, throwing them on the floor, like mopping up everything I possibly could. And then she came back in the back room. She's like, why is the carpet a little damp? Like, oh, I spilled a little bit of water. It was not a little bit of water. So yes, I agree with Barry Aquatics. Once you get a tank you like, you're gonna want more. It always happens. And look at me, I started with 1 tank, I'm up to like 10 now. Let's see, what else we got? Colby, people find my 36-gallon big, and I'm like, eh. Colby, I used to be the same way. When I first got my 125-gallon tank up, so it's 6 feet long, 18 inches front to back, and I think like 21 inches tall, I had some people come over, and I think like my mom even was like, that's a big tank. I've seen an 800-gallon aquarium. I've seen the 2,000-gallon aquarium. Like, I've seen 8-foot-long aquariums in person. I'm like, yeah, okay, it's a decent size, but it's not big. And then I went and got the 220. That was probably the first time in my life I was actually like, oh my gosh, like this tank is big. And I think the reason is that I had to move it down to the basement. I mean, that was a wild ride getting this thing down to the basement. So I agree with you, Colby. Sometimes we're just like, meh, it's not big as you think. What else we got here? Bay Area Aquatics. I had a lady talk to me about her 20-gallon giant show tank with her 4 Oscars, but that's another story. I'm interested to hear that story because I've been in that same story. So I met a hobbyist here that had an Asian arowana and a 36-gallon bow front tank. And it's one of those things of like, I stopped myself, like I'm not gonna argue with him. He's keeping it how he wants to keep it. To him, it's a giant show tank. To him, it's proper, it's great. And I'm just in my mind like screaming of like, I'm like, gosh, it's not gonna work well in the long run. but I can't say much. In my first 75-gallon tank I ever had, I knew it as a Jaguar cichlid. I had like a 10-inch Jaguar cichlid. I had like a 10-inch Pike cichlid. I had 4 5-inch convict cichlids. One common pleco that was like 8 inches long. I had a yellow lab cichlid that actually ended up getting eaten by a red-tailed catfish I had. What else did I have in there? I think that was what I had in there. So I got all of those fish from another hobbyist that was breaking down a tank. He's like, here, have all these fish for free. It was the coolest thing to me. Like, that was one of my favorite tanks, but I had no idea what a red-tailed catfish was, how big they were gonna get, until all of a sudden my yellow lab went missing and one of my convicts went missing, and I realized that sucker ate them. So yeah, that was my my lesson learned in properly keeping fish in tanks. Let's see. Stanby1974, Stanby1974 says 29-gallon minimum for a starter tank. I think it's a decent size. It's going to give you enough dilution. It's going to give you enough area to play with, and it give you enough options for stocking. I think there's plenty of fish that can go into a 29-gallon tank very comfortably. You know, I think a pair of angelfish would do well in there. You can get a nice school of some like tetras in there, some barbs in there. You know, my original 20-gallon tank, I had a school of tiger barbs. Still, to this day, one of the coolest fish I've ever kept. You know, aggressive little boogers, but man, they were fun. I also have my Francis, my red-tailed shark, the rainbow shark. He was originally that 20-gallon. So I learned and I lived, but yeah, I think the 29-gallon is a fantastic way to go. Actually, one of my buddies who I got into the hobby, that was his first starting tank, was a 29-gallon. And then he moved up to a 40-gallon. Bay Area Aquatics, I tell everyone do a 20-gallon with a beta because the maintenance is low for sure. It's very true. Very true. I think what's going to happen, though, is that most people are going to see that 20-gallon and see, like, one betta fish. This is the most boring tank I've ever seen. Where me, like, right now, I'm looking at a 20-gallon tank I have sitting there. I'm like, I bet you I could do, like, a really cool bedded tank. Like, just plant, like, put a ton of plants in there. I mean, I have a 33-gallon tank with shrimp and 2 rainbow fish, so I get it. But, yeah, the maintenance is very low, especially with all the plants I have in there. And the most of the maintenance I do on it is trimming out plants. They grow so fast. I'm just trying to catch up here. Colby, 10-gallon, 5 platies, all males. Be a cool tank. I want guppies back. So I like some platies. I've seen some platies I really like. I think platies are very cool. I miss my guppies. I had a tank of guppies. Swisky is in the house. What? That's a cool little chat to come across there. That's an amazing to have him in. So hello everybody. That's Swisky in there. Got a little flustered. I'm gonna take a drink of Coke here to calm myself down and get back to chatting about guppies. So yes, I used to have a 10-gallon tank, and I started with a trio of red Delta guppies, and they bred like crazy. And that was actually like I actually really missed that tank. I don't talk about it much. I didn't show it much on the channel. I actually really missed that tank. It was just, I had a big ball of what I call guppy grass and a little bit of Java moss mixed into it. Like, it took up half of the 10-gallon tank. It's how much just greenery was in there. And when I pulled it out, I couldn't believe how many guppy fry started falling out of it and went crazy. It was really cool. I really miss my guppies. I'm actually contemplating setting up another 10-gallon tank, specifically guppies again. So Colby's got a 10-gallon tank with 5 platies. What else we got in here? Lumpy Dog, welcome. You're in the house, sir. I've seen your name everywhere else, and it's great to see you in my live stream. Ben J, I love to start fires. 2.5 gallons minimum to 10 gallons maximum for a beginner. I think I've started enough fires myself. You know, the good thing is like everybody's entitled to their opinion. That's what makes the YouTube great. The only thing I would defer on that is I think 5 gallons is the minimum I would recommend to go with anybody for a new tank. 2.5 work. I would personally be okay keeping a betta fish in a 2.5 gallon, but I would still try and steer him to that 5-gallon tank. Primarily, it's so cringy. It's so cringy and so bad. But the first series I did on my channel was that the challenge to build the PetSmart tank with $100. You know, the all-in-one included PetSmart tank, and I put a betta fish in there. And I tried to encourage people to do that one because 5 gallons in a bed of fish, again, was actually one of my favorite tanks. It was just very elegant, very low maintenance. And so I think, yeah, 5 to 10 gallons is a perfect starting size for people because it does not require a lot of maintenance. It does really, really well. Colby, first time I will be able to get as many tanks as I want will be in 40 years. Let's see, 10 years of fish keeping with 2 tanks, then I'm free. It'll be scary. Oh man, I lost it. Hang on here. It'll be scary also, by the way, the 36-gallon bow front is what I have. You know, it's, Colby, it's interesting when you get that realization of I can keep as many tanks as I want. And I did a previous live stream on this about keeping it realistic. So I remember when I started packing my fish room full of tanks, and then I got my fish. Glenn, are you listening? Glenn, this is for you. Glenn Norton, my fish nook, because I'm a fish nooker. Now I started packing tanks down here. You started realizing, like, I can have all the tanks I want. Well, I have a boss I got to answer to. But then you start thinking, too, of, like, the sizes, the stocking. And, again, it's that going back to a beginner. You know, people see what I have, and they go, I want that. I'm like, cool, let's teach you how to do it properly. Here's how I learned how to do this. Here's what I'm still learning how to do this. You know, instead of just rushing into it, remember that sometimes you need to slow down, learn the basics, start out with like a 10-gallon tank, you know, a 20-gallon tank, a 29-gallon tank we've talked about, a 36-gallon tank. See if you can properly, comfortably maintain that. Then let's start adding more tanks. I definitely agree, Colby, that multiple tank syndrome is real and it happens. It definitely happens. I'm an example of that. Let's see, Colby, Aponigeton, word I don't know how to spell. Anyways, that's the plant to go with. So Aponigeton plants are one of my favorite plants. I have a huge one growing in my 125. It's been a lot. It's been really cool. I think like the Crispus is Aponigeton, one of my favorite plants of all times. Let's see, Sunny Cal, I had a 20-gallon long with 1 betta and 4 nerites. That tank got me started with planted tanks. That was maybe 4 years ago. So Sunny, I actually have been in this hobby full-time for about 4 years now. So my first attempt with plants was in my original 75. I bought 2 sword plants from my local fish store. It's just super cringy. I had the blue and black gravel in that tank, and I actually tied lead fishing weights to the roots to get them to stay submerged. I had no idea what I was doing. All I knew is I started reading things like, you know, live plants make your fish tank better, but I had no idea what I really needed. And now I have plants in all of my tanks, but nope, I have plants in all my tanks actually. It's well, the reef tank, but that's a totally different story. So I think, you know, a 20-gallon long, again, I think would be one of the best starting tanks for a beginner. You get a 20 gallons, so it's not going to be anything outrageous. You know, again, you teach them. Siphon out 5 gallons once a week, add 5 gallons back once a week, you're going to be just fine. I also think that the 20-gallon long, it adds that dimension. You can do some really cool aquascapes with. 20-gallon longs to get is one of my favorite tanks of all time because it's so simple to work with. It looks extremely elegant. I got a friend right now, she's in the process of setting up some new tanks, and I'm really excited to see what she's done with it because I think she just set up some 20 longs and separated out some male and female guppies for breeding purposes. So I'm really excited to see what she comes up with there on the 20-gallon longs. Really, really cool. Bay Area Aquatics, I really like neons. I love my neons in my 37-gallon until my bad quarantine process wiped it out. So I am very lucky. I have lost fishing quarantine, but I've actually never like lost an entire colony. I was really nervous I was going to lose all my geos, my geophagus colony when I first got them, because I wasn't quarantining. I didn't really understand what that was yet. And then as I started it, I tried to quarantine a pair of super red bristlenose plecos and a pair of the pistogrammas, like, what was it, the cockatoides? Orange flash, I think they were. And unfortunately, I didn't understand the temperature that the pistogrammas needed to be at. I think my quarantine tank was at like 76 degrees. I should have had that thing up to like 80. So I lost those. So yeah, quarantine process it's a difficult thing to kind of understand, but once you kind of get it down, Well, and unfortunately too, like, you know, fish can just come in bad. But I agree with you. I love neons. It's another thing I really want to do right now is neons. Really dying for some neons. Sunny Cal, I say 5 gallon minimum for betta shrimp. I agree with you. I think 5 gallons is great for a betta fish. I think it's great for beginners. Dan's talking about the quarantine process. Let's see, Lumpy Dog. 10-gallon glass tank starter kits are so affordable. Great for kids, first tank, just saying. Lumpy Dog, I absolutely agree with you. So my first tank was a 20-gallon starter kit. I think the 10 gallons are great. I like them because it gives you everything you realistically need. You're gonna have a hood, it's gonna come in with a light, you're gonna get a heater with it, it's gonna, you know, it'll properly heat the tank efficiently enough. And the filter, they usually come with the hang-on back filters. I think those hang-on back filters, you know, I ran my original 20-gallon tank for a long time using the cartridge system until I learned about ceramic media and polyfill. So I think they're great. I think the starter kits are absolutely, you know, great to get somebody into this hobby with because it's a one package deal if there's everything you need. And if you're lucky and if you do it right, if you watch around the holidays, I've noticed right after Christmas, beginning of summer, and in the fall, in my local area, people really start selling those starter kit tanks for cheap because they're done with them. And that's usually when I can pick up stuff pretty quickly if I wanted to. And that's where you can really help some hobbyists get into it. Let's see. Cancer Train. I bought a 75-gallon 2 years ago to get back into the hobby. I went with the blue and black gravel. I hate it so much, but don't want to tear everything apart to replace it all. So that's what I did too. I had that blue and black gravel, and there was actually a day and a time where I did take everything out to replace it. It's exhausting. Like I am dreading the day that I decide, if I ever, I hope I don't, ever decide to change up the 220 and pull all the sand out. Ugh, absolutely would hate it. 75 gallons again though, once you get into, get somebody into the hobby, I think a 75-gallon tank is a great one to say, if you're ready for a larger tank, a 75-gallon really opens up options of fish, you know, plants. Just, it gives you so much room to work with, and you can come. I really think you could comfortably keep like an Oscar in there. You could do a really big school of neon tetras, really big school of some barbs. I used to have a colony of like 15 of the gold barbs. One of my favorite fish of all time. That's still one fish I'm slightly regretting getting rid of. So Cancer Train, 75-gallon is perfect for a starter tank. If you can help the new hobbyist understand what it's going to entail as water changes in nature, I absolutely agree with you. I think it would be great. I would just also make sure they understand what filtration is going to be. That's a whole other video for another time. Let's keep going ahead here. Oh, speaking of Cancer Train, speaking of geophagus, mine spawned about 10 minutes ago. That is cool. That is really, really cool. I have not spawned my geos. I don't think I will. I actually don't have 2 of the same species, but I love my geophagus. Let's see here. What else we got going on with the chat? Colby, I bought Serpe tetras from PetSmart recently. That was a dumb idea. I lost 6 of them, had to buy 5 more from an actual fish store. Only fish from PetSmart I recommend is platies. So I thought about jumping on that bandwagon train of making videos in regards to the Petco, PetSmart industry. I know a lot of people give them a really bad name on the internet, and some of them are. Unfortunately, I think it comes down to the management. Yeah, I've been in some terrible ones. I've also I've also found some of the best stuff from a PetSmart Petco. I've talked with like Barry Aquatics, actually. I think it was him I was talking with. He was telling me about how his local PetSmart Petco kind of ideal is it has a really good manager and will order him in special orders of fish, but they have a really weird like process where it has to hit their tank first and then get bagged up again to go to his tank, you know. But I can agree that I think there are some issues with the PetSmart Petco big box stores, but saying that, I also think that Petco and PetSmart are responsible for bringing in the majority of the new hobbyists. It gives them a mainstream avenue to get started with, but then once you get into it and you kind of learn what you're looking for, I go directly to my main local fish stores because I can get what I'm looking for. They know what they're talking about, you know, and they're not going to be questioned. Well, they're not going to make you sign a form. I actually bought some what are they called? Zebra Danios. For the PetSmart tank I built, I call it the PetSmart tank. It's that 5-gallon tank. I bought Zebra Danios. I had to lie to the employee and tell him I was putting him in a 20-gallon tank to get him out of the store. They had a policy that they would not sell those fish to me if I was putting them in like a 20-gallon or less. So I think there's definitely some, this is how they're run. But I will say though, I think they're definitely responsible for bringing in a lot of hobbyists. I don't think some of them, like I say, some of them can be really bad. I think some with the good management are really good. I've actually got a video coming out about a it's not a fish. I got a video coming out about something I found at Petco for my reef tank, and it was a great find. Great find. What else we got going on here? Dan, should I get a small quarantine tank and set it up at the same time as my main tank? So, Dan, here's my opinion. Yes, but you have to decide, is that quarantine tank going to stay a quarantine tank, or is it going to turn into another display tank? I'm guilty of it. I used to have a 10-gallon tank specifically for quarantine. Yeah, I didn't stay quarantined for very long. I turned it into more guppies. So quarantine's always recommended. It absolutely always is. I think a 10-gallon tank is perfect for quarantine because most medications that you may need to use in quarantine are actually have dosing guidelines specifically to like 10 gallons of water, so it makes it really easy to use. So I purposely have a few 10-gallon tanks on hand if I ever need to hurry and set up a quarantine tank. And that's another thing I want to revisit at a later time. Is I want to make an updated quarantine video. My first one was, I say, super cringy, but I was just learning, getting into it. Keith Boardley, oh, I got your name. I can finally read it. I have to set up my nephew's first tank for them, 65-gallon. Be a fun tank. So I've already joked to my wife. I'm looking forward to the day that my daughter asks me for a tank when she's old enough, you know. And my wife's response is like, she can pick one of your fish tanks downstairs. You know, she could have one for herself. We'll see. I guarantee you we'll get her something going on. Lumpy Dog, 75-gallon is the deepest tank, and I can reach the bottom of it with my armpit to the top rim. Anything deeper, and I need tools. Yo, Lumpy Dog, the struggle is real. So I'm 6 foot, but with my 220, I cannot reach into it. When I was first trying to get this all set up, I tried to reach into the back of the tank, and I like splashed water over me, and I got soaked. So I am the same way. A 75-gallon tank is where I can, properly maintenance it. And that's a good thing too to bring up with a new hobbyist and helping them understand what tank they can get is, can you reach the bottom of it? You know, can you comfortably reach into the corner to potentially pull out a dead fish, pull out waste? You know, if you need a gravel vac in that corner, if you need to pull out some, decorations, if you want to add some decor, that's a whole other part of bringing a hobbyist into this. Bringing a new person into this hobby is, are you comfortable taking care of that tank? Water changes, any other maintenance you may need, and that nature, are you comfortable with it? And so that's something I had to learn too, is I agree, 75-gallon is what I can reach into very comfortably. Beyond that, I'm in trouble. D. Parsons, anoxic filters Jesus. Continue a minute to read this one. Anoxic filters, biocinosis clarification baskets. Where'd it go? Dr. Novak, have you heard of this? Anoxic filters, baskets, Dr. Novak, have you heard of this? I've done a lot of research, looks pretty compelling. Anoxic filters. Dr. Novak. I don't think I have. I'm guessing it's different from, I want to say it's the diatom filter that used to be popular in the hobby. But I'm going to look into that. You caught my attention with that one. I always like learning new things. So I'm really interested to research that as I get going. See what we got going on that one. Bay Area Aquatics. I film videos on PetSmart Petco because it's accessible to almost everyone. I fully agree with you. It is. Even small towns, most of the time, you'll get hobbyists that'll say that the only place they have to go is a PetSmart or Petco. And I think that actually Bay Area Aquatics has done a lot of good videos on the products you can actually get from them. and have success. Really do have some great success with them. D. Parsons, by the way, you are the best. Thank you for all the great content and passion for the hobby. Oh, shucks. Dan, you're making me blush. You know you can't make me blush on camera. I'm already a ginger. Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. I try to. One of my goals that I have, particularly being on camera, is I would hope that if anybody met me in person and started talking fish tanks with me, that I would have this same level of passion, of joy, and just all-out nerdiness as I do right here. I would really hope that people would be able to say, like, yes, he is the same in person as he is on camera. He's not faking it. He's not hiding things. And I love talking fish with people. Love talking fish with people. Dan, all stores that sell pets here in UK get inspected by RSPCA. If they fail human standards, they lose right to sell live animals and have to go to court to prove they are up to standard. Up to standard. That's awesome and like terrifying at the same time. But I really think that's a cool idea. And that's something I know has been brought up too. Is, how do I put this? You get a beginning hobbyist that they put an Oscar into a 20-gallon tank. They go, look at the man, this is my coolest fish tank ever. How do you talk with them? Are you going to be the guy that says, man, you really screwed up, like that's terrible, you're a bad fish keeper, and potentially destroy their passion for the hobby? Or are you going to try and talk with them and educate them on and share your opinion on how that fish should properly be kept in that nature? One of the hardest things, I think, to talk with people, but there's some people's minds we just can't change. But to have to go to court, that's intense. That is really intense. I hope if I was ever involved in a shop like that people would be able to walk in and really see that I care for what I do. That's one thing I love about my local fish store, the main one I go to, is the owner of it. There was a time that a long-time customer, I think like 30 years, passed away, and this is a crazy story. In the will of the customer, they had 2 koi fish that specifically were willed to the owner of this store. She was given permission from the will to sell them, but she had to personally inspect the pond they were going to and verify that they were going to be taken care of for the rest of their life, however long that may be. She did that. I was actually in the store, kind of eavesdropping, when a customer came in and inquired about them, and she was like, I need to see pictures of your pond. I need to see this. So the reason I keep going back is that she loves the hobby. She loves these fish and takes care of them. And it's comforting knowing that I'm going to be getting a good quality product, and that she's going to take care of the fish that come into her possession. Zelf Ernide? Zelf? Hi, got here after watching the vid of your wife being your hero. Well, thank you for joining. It was a crazy night last night, and my wife was definitely my hero. Hands down to her, all credit goes to her. She really helped me out in that very large predicament I got in. So welcome, Zelf. Welcome to the live stream. Bierski method. Totally agree on quarantine tank, about 10 gallon for dosing, etc. Starter tank, 55 gallon minimum, and it gets easier to maintain at a certain size. I think a 55 gallon can be a great starter tank. But again, it comes back to talking with that person of what are you comfortable keeping. A buddy of mine, his first fish tank was a 55 gallon. He thought it was the coolest thing at first until he got frustrated doing water changes with it. And then I taught him about the Python system, and then now he's back to loving his tank again. So I think once you teach them what they're going to need to do, it's great. So 55 gallons are actually, I think, a great starter. It's probably the largest I would recommend to somebody to start with. Colby, I'm in 8th grade, 5'11", need to make it to 6 foot for high school. Colby, you are in the 8th grade and already doing what you're doing in the hobby. I believe Colby has a YouTube channel. Go check him out. I believe I've talked with him personally. If he's Colby, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's guppies in, was it some kind of like platies he was doing outside in some tubs? He's a smart kid. That's really cool that he's in 8th grade and already has this passion for the hobby. I'm excited to see where you go with this. So now I understand you're talking about all the tanks you have. But 6 foot for high school, don't worry, man. I was kind of short in elementary school. And my freshman year, I shot up to 6 foot, and I gained a lot of weight. And the funny thing is like my oldest brother, I put on 30 more pounds than him. He could still beat me in wrestling because he wrestled in high school as a state wrestler. But all I had to do was just sit on him. I would make it an effort to get on top and then just sit on him. Fight was over. So Colby, that's awesome, man. That's really cool. You're in the 8th grade already doing what you're doing with this one. Dan, also I hear people say gallon, but is the standard in the hobby US gallon or metric? I tend to go US gallon over metric. Believe where you are, what part of the world you're in. So I know in like Europe, Canada, everything's in liters. I just know gallons. I can't convert gallons to liters to gallons to save my life. I really think if like my life depended on it, I couldn't do it. I don't know if there's so much a standard, but well, I think the standard you will see is gallons, because majority of even people like Aaron's Aquariums is one I watch. Every time he talks liters, he's really good at converting it over to gallons because he knows that's what most people are going to understand. And like Joey, I know he talks everything in gallons to help people understand as well, instead of just primarily going on liters. Let's see, what else we got here? Let's see. Cancer Tain, I've watched all of the Dr. Novak videos. Jay's Aquariums also has good anoxic filtration videos. I'm really on the anaerobic. Okay, James Glenn, anaerobic filter. There we go. So these are other ways to reach anoxic conditions: deep substrate, 4 to 5 inches, moving filter media like the Zis, proper plants such as foxtail and Acaris. Okay, that makes more sense now. So it's more of that anaerobic bacteria to break down waste. I have an idea what you're talking about now, but I'm still going to research that filter. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with the chat. D. Parsons, I should have clarified. Oh, I just read that one. Oops. Okay. Bay Area Aquatics. All right, I have to go do dishes before it's too late. Congrats on 1,000 subscribers. Bay Area Aquatics, thank you. Thank you for joining the live stream. Yeah, I really appreciate being here and giving this show on the support. Mark, hey, Mr. Wel-Don and fam. Mark, welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the channel. If you got anything you want to chime in on our discussion about tank size for beginners, please do. Always love to see new faces in here. Let's see here. D. Parsons, why you are awesome. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm probably gonna get like emotional or tear up right here. No judgment, have fun, make mistakes, laugh at yourself, love your family, building the community, and welcoming others. That's what it's all about and how we get people to stay. No judgment. You know, I try not to because I've been judged. I've been judged in this hobby, and it about drove me out of this hobby. It was very unfortunate. Fortunately, I found good people to surround myself with. I definitely do like to have fun. If I wasn't having fun, I wouldn't be doing this. I actually had a coworker last night ask me, he's like, so how long do you plan on doing YouTube? I said, tell it's not fun anymore. He goes, well, how do you know when that's going to be? I said, I don't know. When I wake up one morning and say, I really don't want to make a video. But right now, I'm having fun. I'm having way too much fun with this, and to quit. To laugh at myself, I have to. I learned at an early age to laugh at myself, particularly when I have Tourette's. I make funny noises. I have to laugh at myself at some time. And I've made my fair share of mistakes. I made my fair share of mistakes. But D, thank you. That's very, very kind of you. Looks like Lumpy Dog went and subscribed to Colby's channel. That's awesome of him. Jay has also Cancer Tain. Jay has also started making videos again recently. Look forward to seeing more of that one. Colby, now I'm doing platies. I used to do a lot of platies. Now I do platies, Serpe, Tetras, and Gourami. Also pea puffer. Want a pond, but washing is too cold. So that's what he had out there. I think it was his, maybe his Serpe Tetras we were talking about. He had a really cool Tetra that he shared with me that he's actually been breeding. But I think it's awesome. He's already got that passion, desire to keep things going. John Roberts. Hey, like your vids and your excitement. Thank you, John. I really appreciate that. I tend to get overexcited. So I have some people may have caught on to this in some of my videos. I tend to get so excited in talking in my videos that I talk too fast and then I run out of breath. And you'll notice in some of my videos, like all of a sudden you'll hear in the background just, all right, then we gotta start talking again. So I'm learning to slow down, kind of talk specifically and slowly, clearly, so people can understand what I'm saying. I've done it in this live stream tonight. I get going way too fast and just forget to breathe. So thank you everybody for joining. We had a good discussion here on beginner tanks. We had a lot of great comments. I'm still interested in going on this. So if anybody has any questions you want to ask me specifically, maybe we can do that. Help each other out in the chat. Maybe we'll pull off the tripod. I do owe you guys a kind of a brief tour of the fish room because my last live stream, that was embarrassing. My phone died on me. So let's kind of see what comes up in the chat, and maybe here we'll go off tripod and kind of go walk around the fish room here a little bit. Let me show you some things I'm working on. I'm not going to show everything off, but I did another water change video. Really excited about that one. That one's going to be more geared towards the saltwater hobby, but I think it's going to be really cool to do what I've got going on there. So let's see. Oh man, I've been sitting for an hour and you forget how your legs work. What can I show you guys? Oh, there's Sergeant. Let's take a look. Let's come over to the 220. Sergeant going on. He's got his food belly rocking. So the 220 is doing really well. Absolutely in love with this flagtail Procellus I have in here as well. Everything's doing great here. Let's take a walk back over here. Let me get some lights on back here. Everything's kind of off right now. It's late at night. Reef tank is doing really well. That tang's put on some good size. I've got the clown. There's the 6-line wrasse. He rarely comes out. Really good to see him. I've actually recently picked up some coral. Really excited about that. I got some videos coming out on that. We got a new anemone in the tank. I got a video coming out on that. So really excited there. Tonight, I've got to come down and work on the sump tonight. My skimmer's giving me some issues. That's the most vexing thing that I have done in this hobby yet, is learning how to work a skimmer. So going to be doing that one. Let's see here. Let's get some lights on. So I run all of my lights on. So there's the 125. There is Kiwi. Flagtail in there. Zis filters are doing great. The Shelly's got an upgrade. So we're now in a 33 long on the Shellys. More coming out on this tank. I've hinted to it a little bit. I'm really excited for this tank. And here is my snail farm shrimp tank with the dwarf Praecox rainbows. Let's see if we can't find them. So the cherry shrimp are doing really well. Cantertain, that was specifically the last one up here. This is my Fahaka puffer. Her name is Kiwi. And actually, in my algae-encrusted glass, I do have an orange abai puffer in this tank. He likes to hide back behind his wood. He's not coming out right now. Then check this out. Algae everywhere. There's Sparta, my flower horn. That's what I'm going to be doing tonight. I got to take all this algae off the glass. I come down about once a week and scrape off all the algae. So I've been busy. This has been a crazy week for me. Been really busy, so I haven't gotten to it. And then back over here is my Mabu puffer. So there's the Mabu puffer. He's doing really well in this tank. So yeah, things are going good. So there's kind of some brief things I'm working on. Like I say, we've got a new more testing going on for the Zis biofilter. Really excited to get that thing rolling. The most extensive testing I've ever done. I've got a lot of videos coming out here recently. But again, thank you. I have to say thank you everybody for helping me reach the mark of 1,000 subscribers. It was absolutely incredible to see that come in Tuesday night. I can't thank everybody enough for helping me get there. It's been a journey. I'm really looking forward to it though. I got a lot of good videos coming out. And thank you everybody for being here in the live stream, participating. Really cool to see everybody here. I think we had a great discussion. The comments were great. I had fun. I hope everybody else did. So we're about an hour in. I know the first like 3 minutes was me struggling to get things working, but I'm losing my voice and I got a lot of work to do down here tonight, so I think I'm gonna call it a night and get working on some things, try and make some videos tonight. So again, thank you everybody for joining the live stream. Thank you for 1,000 subscribers. So let's keep moving. Let's keep going forward, and please. Oh, I keep forgetting to say this. I am on Facebook and I'm on Instagram, both under Wel-Don Aquatics. I am starting to share more behind the scenes on Instagram. I'm trying to get more involved in the Instagram community. So go ahead and follow me there. Look me up on Facebook. I share all the YouTube videos to Facebook and that nature. And you can get in direct contact with me if you want to through the Instagram and Facebook Messenger right now. I'm still trying to get, answer anybody that messages me. So again, thank you everybody. It's been a great night. I'm going to call it one. And we will see you guys on the next live stream.